All right, everybody, welcome to episode number 46 of the Final Circle podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about some PUBG 2 related news that's been kind of talked about in the PUBG community for a while now, but there's been a lot of things leaked recently. So we're going to be talking about that. A lot about the PGI.S, which is the up and coming global tournament, and probably a handful of other PUBG topics along the way. So I guess we'll start with PUBG 2. And have you been following any of the stuff, Andrew, with PUBG 2 right now? Or of all these leaks? There's so much going on. I'm like, don't even really know where to start with this one.
Yeah, so I know like the beginning, maybe I'm missing some things, but I know obviously we talked about the player IGN at the first leak. And then I guess maybe even like, was that before the last podcast that the Bloomberg article came out?
I forget
after the last one.
I forget. I think the Bloomberg article came out after the last podcast we did, which was on January 7th. It's actually almost a month ago now. So I think that was in between then or after that.
I think it was after, because then I think it came out, I was like, oh, this is kind of big. It kind of, a American big media company, Bloomberg, that covers mostly financial markets. They published an article talking about the founder of PUBG, or really Crafton, right?
Yeah, and this was interesting because I didn't know about this guy. He was kind of interesting story. We'll try to link the article. You guys might have seen it if you follow PUBG. He was like a child prodigy coder in South Korea, and he had been working on video game projects that never panned out. And then he eventually started, I guess, coding PUBG. And then him and a few other people basically started PUBG, and then they brought on Brendan Green as player unknown, and that was his first successful game. So his story is actually really interesting. They did like a piece on him, and then in that they talked a lot about PUBG, the future of PUBG, PUBG potentially becoming a public company, meaning that people can invest in it on the stock market, which is called an IPO, initial public offering. So PUBG is planning some big things, and honestly, I've heard that there's been a lot of rumors about PUBG as a company, PUBG the game, and I'd heard some of these things, but this is actually like really, really big news. This is something that you could probably make a whole entire podcast about, and I'm sure people already have. But it really is kind of crazy news that PUBG is going to become a company like this. This means that PUBG is going to go from just making, they had made some other smaller games before PUBG, but PUBG is really their first success. And they're going to go from just a company making small games, and well, PUBG's not small, but you know what I mean, to like an actual publisher like Activision, like EA, or Electronic Arts, or Take-Two, or any of these things. So it's going to be pretty crazy when this happens, and it doesn't seem like it's an if. It seems like it's like a when. It seems like they're really planning on doing all this stuff. It's pretty serious now, especially if Bloomberg's doing an article on it. So
definitely, if Bloomberg is writing an article on it, I think it kind of gave all those, player IGN had all these like leaks and stuff like that. They were in different languages, and people were like, oh, translations and whatever. But then when Bloomberg came out with it, I think it's like a very strong reaffirming that this is the plan. But not necessarily PUBG 2.0, but they definitely hint at some things in there about a PUBG game, or its continuation, maybe they
say. I think the exact quotes is they say like PUBG related game. So that's what's tough. A lot of people are saying PUBG 2. PUBG 2 is kind of just like a metaphor, but I think people are getting the wrong idea, because the article, it could be PUBG 2, it could be a new version of PUBG on the better engine, but really the article just says that they're working on like new versions of related content for PUBG, and it says specifically they're doing it for mobile and then for PC, and then I think it said PC and console. So they're definitely doing it. I think they almost confirmed that they are actually making like a new version of PUBG for mobile. But again, nobody really knows what this means. Could it be a different style game? Could it be literally PUBG 2, like Overwatch 2, which I think is a bad idea. I don't think they should ever do a 2. I think a lot of people agree with me. Obviously, not everyone's going to, but that they should people want to see the same game, but just updated on the new engine, on a newer engine. Yeah. And I was saying this in the stream, that's what League of Legends did. League of Legends was made in 2011, I think, in beta, or 2010, and then around 2000, in the mid 2015 timeframe, I forget exactly when it happened. They were like, people were saying like the client's broken, dude. You guys got to update all this stuff. And they went in and they the game went down for a little bit, and then they came up. You had to download a whole new client. The game was the same, but it looked different. The graphics were better. It was the same game, but it was different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they amped it up a little bit
Yeah, but
or
so
something. I don't know. That was a good word.
so who knows what this means for PUBG? But there's definitely something going on because PUBG. I've mentioned this on the podcast before and in the stream. I've been fortunate enough to talk with PUBG, and they've said in the past that they legitimately have like a 10-year plan for PUBG. You know, and one time I even heard them say a 20-year plan for PUBG.
Yeah,
And I don't know if that's
insane
true
to
or
say
not.
that.
Yeah, I don't know, how true all this stuff
Yeah.
is, but if they have these plans for PUBG, you have to imagine that even if they're just very rough plans, that something along the lines of updating the game, because like you said to me recently when we were talking outside the podcast, was like they can't have the game for 10 years if they don't update it. That's just not that wouldn't even happen. That's impossible, right? There's
Yeah.
no way this game will exist like this for 10 years. It just would never
there's
happen.
no way. Yeah. So I think Player IGN had a good breakdown. I don't know if you saw his YouTube on that.
I did. I've been
video
watching his videos.
Yeah, he literally talks about like the Unreal Engine, and actually before I'll go into this, I have the article up. So it's like the company plans to release a new battle royale mobile title this year that will be based on PUBG, another PUBG related PC and console game by next year, and the survival horror game in 2022. So yeah, I mean, maybe these things are PUBG related, and it's more like they're making like a DayZ version of PUBG and or something like that. Who knows? But I don't know if that means necessarily like it's PUBG 2.0 or they're doing something, but to say that they're making a new battle royale for mobile, it's kind of crazy, and that might be because of like Tencent, but I don't know what that is. But back to the Player IGN video where he's kind of summarizes, I guess he kind of like he condenses all of these different leaks and stuff into that one video.
Okay.
And he goes over Unreal Engine really well, and this is something I didn't know. I was kind of curious at what they were using, and he says they're using Unreal Engine 4.16 or something like that was the last time they updated, and like currently Unreal Engine's on like 4.26 or something like that, but a lot of companies are not updating Unreal Engine anymore because now Unreal Engine 5 is being released in May.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly. So like I think it's actually May. So he's like, this is kind of like coinciding with one another that maybe they're not updating, and they've been hiring on this like hiring spree and preparing, and like if they're not updating it, and he's like, how hard with it. I think he talked to someone from Unreal or like Epic. Is it Epic that does Unreal Engine? I think it's Epic, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Epic that owns Unreal.
I don't know why I couldn't. And like he asked them, and he goes over. The person says like it's not like easily done to jump from like 4.16 to like a 5 or whatever, and that's kind of why he doesn't think it's just going to be like a big update to the game. But it's 100% possible that they do update to Unreal 5 and do kind of what you explained before with the League of Legends. Take down the servers for a day and just push the update or something,
It's maybe not even an update. It's literally just you download the new game, but it's called PUBG still, right? Like you're technically downloading a new game, but it's just PUBG.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he mentioned something because like Dr. Disrespect was talking about PUBG, and he's like, this game has so much potential. And he was like, even if they redesign it from the ground up, like just do everything similarly, but just on new engine, all that stuff.
Yeah, Dr. Respect was like, even if you have to hire outside the company or outsource it, just do it that way.
And apparently he found like information that they were like outsourcing something. Or
you're right, he did say that. Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think it's worth watching some Player IGN videos if you really want to dig into it.
For sure.
The conspiracy.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy, man. Because there's two ways you can look at this. It's just a video game. It's not like that crazy, but it's crazy because PUBG was in the stratosphere as one of the most popular games in the world for a moment, and it's still up there. It's number 3 on the Steam charts. I think still it's still very top 20 game on console. So it's still there, but the fact that like it had that moment, which may not come in that direction, it might not go that way again. I think it could, but you never know. But the fact that they could be launching something like this would just be huge for PUBG. And what's even adding, so I've been on the side where I'm not trusting PUBG 2. PUBG has told me outright that that's not happening. It's not the case. They're not working on PUBG 2, but I think that could be obviously they're not going to say we're doing it. They're not going to tell me, right? Yeah, exactly. I think it could just be a ruse. I wouldn't even consider it lying because what else are they going to do when asked that like straight on? But the whole time I kind of am like, I'm just going to believe them, whatever, even if it's naive. I'm purposely going to do that. But then season 10 launches and we have the new map Haven. But then after 10.1, there's been like no content in these updates. It's just been like very minor fixes and like cosmetics and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm changing my settings.
Yeah, like it's changing. So this is 10.2, not that much. 10.3, not that much. There's a new car. It's nothing like game changing though, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep that pace going. But I know that PUBG
Yeah.
has a lot planned for 2021. So if there's no content right now, I'm like, what do they have planned for the end of this season and then the launch of season 11? And then to add fuel to that, PUBG recently just put out patch notes for 10.3, and it's going to be delayed on console. By the way, it's on the test servers now for PC, and it's not going to be on console till the 23rd. Things are being delayed because of, honestly, they said the Lunar New Year, and then also because of the PGI.S. There's like all these things happening, so things are getting delayed, and there won't be any updates.
Yeah.
But they said when season 11 hits, which is on the 4-year anniversary of PUBG, so that's huge. Like they're going to launch season 11 on the 4-year anniversary, so that could be, they might coincide that with really big news. On top of that, they said that the season structure is changing going forward. So I was like looking at that, and I'm like, what does that mean? We were trying to talk about it in the stream. Does that mean, is it going to be PUBG 2 and the season's different now? Is it going to be, instead of season 11, are we going to go to season like 2.1, or are we going to see like a longer season now? Are we going to see a shorter season with different kind of battle passes? I mean, it could be literally just them changing the season length, or it could literally mean all the way to it's a different game or something. I mean, it could be anything really. So it's kind of interesting to speculate on it for a second.
Yeah, no, I think that's interesting. I didn't realize the 4-year anniversary was so soon, to be honest with you. And the content, has been a little bit like whatever. And I don't think they need to roll out massive things. But like, when is the Miramar update? Have they said anything about that? Like,
no. So we know
something that we talk about for like 6 months, right?
I know we know pretty much confirmed that Miramar remastered this year, new map confirmed this year, and they pretty much confirmed that there is eventually going to be an Alaska map, whether that's the new map this year or whether it's next year. But those things are basically all that we know that's left with PUBG. Anything else is a secret, really. Okay.
I mean, that's interesting in itself, right? I think. I mean, but I guess they never really were that outright with like their year plan.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm very interested in like seeing Miramar remastered, just with like all the issues with glitches and people like going through floors. But I think like that's just an issue with like old consoles, and like it's just impossible to fix with the Unreal Engine. I can't wrap my head. Oh, it's a 10-year plan, but we haven't updated our Unreal Engine, and like I think they said they stopped updating it in like May, like a year, almost May or something, like around the time that they announced Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, really? So, interesting. So maybe that does kind of add up.
I think he said, this is what I think he said, and we should probably like give him the credit here. He said something like they announced, like a month before Unreal Engine 5 was announced, they started hiring people and something like that. So yeah, and it doesn't like, and then, or maybe around the time Unreal Engine 5 was noted, and they stopped updating 4.16 from 4.16. But I mean, like, 4.16 to 4.2, like, is in like terms of like, like code and stuff like that, it's kind of like that could be a pretty big jump, a significant jump. But it depends. Sometimes like it just depends. But like I feel like it could, but typically it's a bigger jump for something like that,
Yeah.
But kind of interesting,
dude. It is. And then can I tell you that Dave Kerr just tweeted something out before we went live on the podcast 30 minutes ago, and he said he's now the creative director for PUBG, which was the original position by Brendan Green, and I was able to talk to him recently. Well, on a call with a bunch of other PUBG partners. And he said, quick update. It's been a wild, busy month as we are firming up plans for the year. Today, we had our first large playtest of a new feature. It's rough around the edges, but promising. Sorry for the sounds. It won't be long now. And a lot of people are like freaking out about this, this message. I reread it. I'm like, it could be just a small feature, but the way he says it, that like we've had our first large playtest of a new feature, and a lot of people at PUBG are kind of retweeting it and saying certain things. Like this guy, Steve the Happy Whale, is like, oh yes, with a smiley face. Like people seem excited about this news. So I don't know. This could be a new movement feature. This could be all the way on one side, a new movement feature or something minor, or it could literally be like we're testing for the first time ever in the company PUBG 2. It could be something that far, which could be. I feel weird for speculating that far, but it could be anything. I guess it's fair to say it.
No, I agree. I mean, I think like in terms of like the movement features and stuff like that, like PUBG definitely needs a bigger update. And I think like Wacky Jackie said this, and Dr. Disrespect has said it. Like in that game, in PUBG, you just don't feel athletic in it. You know what I mean? You don't feel like you move like a little bit robotic and stuff like that. And like Wacky Jackie did something that was like up the step. Like he's like, I feel like you shouldn't have to jump to go up small steps, kind of thing. And I like really relate to that, because there's been times where I'm trying to like run into like C block and military base, and you're stuck like going on this curb.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, but if I could walk upstairs, why do I have to need to jump up a curb? You know what I mean? Like what? Like it reminds me of our friend Craig, who would just be like, clipping, just yelling clipping.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So it's just I like stuff like that. It's like I don't know how hard that is to change, but like I felt that when he mentioned that stuff, like just upping that and stuff like that would be a huge change. And it's like that's really what you need sometimes, I guess. Just feel a little bit of movement, smooth it out, athleticism.
Yeah, I mean, PUBG's definitely struggles in that way. I mean, we always say this. Some of it is definitely intentional because they're not trying to be a game where you slide and do all this stuff. But at least I hope not. But yeah, it needs to have the generic things where you don't get stuck trying to just go up a stair, or the movement needs to feel a little better for, especially for us console players with the thumbsticks. It feels like sometimes I'm playing in slow motion.
Yeah, I feel like I get stuck like on a door so easily, and like I mean the little piece of the door that like stops the door from like going through. You know what I mean? Not the hinge, but like I don't know what you call it.
Yeah,
I just feel like I'm stuck on the smallest thing. You're like, what am I stuck on right now?
Yeah. No, it definitely happens a lot. And something I'm struggling with so much right now is feeling like I don't know what happened to my controls, but I just have felt so clunky and slow and like having a hard time aiming out of pretty much nowhere. Literally like to the point where I had probably like my least favorite week of playing PUBG ever. And I was laughing because I'm like, dude, we played through some of the worst moments in PUBG history. And this week was like my least favorite week playing the game because everything feels off to me. All my settings, like it's really odd. And talking to everybody in the stream, a lot of people feel the same way. It's like this update, it had a hidden, and you texted me right after the update, like day one, you're like, dude, did the sensitivities change? Everything feels different. And I was like, no, I don't really notice anything. But then I played and I totally noticed it.
Yeah, I feel like some people are just way more sensitive to stuff like that, and I think I am one of those people, because as soon as I was playing, I was like, I'm aiming down sights, and I'm like, I should be hitting these shots, and I just can't. Like my brain is just like, like it just wasn't working.
Yeah, and then check this out. This is kind of off topic, but something is definitely up with the aim acceleration, because I've always had my aim acceleration. This is kind of like a weird thing to explain, so I don't want to lose people here. But I'll just say this. Basically, I was testing aim acceleration because I leave mine. It used to just be on, and then it was on like a 0 to 10 scale. I think originally it was something like that. Or it was on a 1 to 10 scale originally. Then they made it like on a 0 to 20 scale, and then they made the ability for you to turn it on or off. So I always just kept mine. It was always on, default 1. And I just kind of imagine that's off because it's so low, right? And then normally if a vehicle drives by me, aim acceleration allows you to aim and then accelerate your aim to track maybe like a vehicle, right? If you're pushing your thumbstick all the way right or left. So if a vehicle drives by me, I can't track it because I'm on aim acceleration 1, right? Like I don't accelerate fast enough to track a vehicle driving however fast, 70 kilometers an hour. But lately I've been able to do that. Like when I go right, my aim flies across the screen like I have like 20 sensitivity, but I've never changed my sensitivity. And then I changed my aim acceleration to like 20 and it was slower. Then I changed the aim acceleration to 10 and it was faster. Then I changed it to 13 and it was slower. And I'm like, dude, there's something wrong with the aim acceleration because at 20, it's not working. At 13, it's like slow. At 10, it's really fast. And at 1, it's fast. So something is so fucked up. And then I had some other people
Yeah.
test it in the stream, and they had like the same issue. So I was like, this is really weird, man. Because people thought I was crazy when I was explaining it. I'm like, I'm telling you, try right now. And shout out to DG Bald Bull. He was like, dude, I'm testing it right now. It's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be the fastest at 20. At least that's what I think. That would make sense, right? 1 slowest, 20 fastest. I don't know. Anyways, something's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I guess after playing PUBG day in and day out for 2 years straight, I guess finally like caught up to me, and I got a little frustrated this week. But it is what it is. We all get frustrated when you're playing a game a lot, or doing anything, I guess, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think it's like a game that like it's so dependent on the gunplay, and when they do, it does change or something gets messed up with it. Like they forget to round a number off or something. It just like it creates this like ripple effect for people. It's like weird. It's just a lot harder to get used to.
Yeah, and I've been definitely having, and then the inventory change, and then I've been having this glitch.
Dude, yeah.
I've been having this glitch this week where doors won't open. It's so odd. Like I just, I'm in a house and like I can't open the doors, and I have to jump out the window, and it's just stuff like that. There's like, where does that? I mean, I know it's just it's an ever living, evolving game, but it's weird that like it stinks to see that stuff still happening. You know, like these random issues and dropping ammo. You know, that's been a big bug again. Dropping ammo after you use the gas can.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Yeah, there's just some things that's like, and I think that's also just like they've buried things in so much code now. It's like you change one thing and it just has negative impacts across the board that you don't know. You know.
Yeah, the gas can.
I think it's just hard.
And the gas can one is tough because that was already an issue that came and that happened and then got fixed. So like I think people, including myself, are upset to see that. Like I got an off a care package, and then I ran out of gas, so then I refueled my car, and then the ammo doesn't just fall on the ground; it just completely disappears. So I got an and then all the ammo went away. I was like, "Oh, you bastard!" And then a guy pulled up on me, and then I only had my my 40 shots in my AR, and then I shot him, and then I ran out of ammo, and then I died, and I was like, dude, I'm getting off PUBG.
Dude, that's
like
so
it's
shitty.
just so annoying to play for 30 minutes and to be in the top 5, and then to get a care package and lose all my, or whatever it was, top 10, and lose all your ammo. It's just like, you're like 30 minutes, dude. And then if you're only playing 2 games a night and that happens to you,
you're not gonna want to play. I mean, I kind of got, after that update, I was a little bit like upset, and I just hadn't been playing at night. I like took like a week off. I was like, I just can't, like, it was just like so frustrating because I'm like, I don't like necessarily need to be playing like in going for like, you know, playing ranked, and I'm like, only thing I care about is winning. Like, I want to have fun. But it's just like frustrating when I'm like, I just want to be able to play how I was playing like a week ago. You know what I mean? Like, and not feel like the game is fighting me or something. You know what I mean? I have to relearn a mechanic that I shouldn't have to relearn, you know?
Yeah. I hear that, man. I totally hear that. I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah, but I mean, I get like that you have to update things, but like I don't see you updating like the sensitivities or whatever happened there. But I don't think they meant to do it.
I mean, maybe. I mean, it might not even be a real thing. It just seems like a lot of people. It just seems not. It's just weird because when you hear so many people mention it, it's odd. But who knows? Could just be placebo or something. I'm not really sure.
I don't know. I know Day said his aim is his settings like completely reset or something like that. So,
well, he keeps saying that his settings are resetting when he plays, but who knows why that's happening? It sounds like a weird bug that he keeps experiencing or something like that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be like, hopefully they can fix it. I mean, the thing is, I think we were like kind of like joking. It's like the view, like your angle of view in the Murado. It's like when you couldn't like look down, or you would be driving down hill TPP and you couldn't see anything.
Yeah, well, that's still happening, right?
I think. Yeah, it's like, oh, come on, you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
that stuff. It's just, I think that just gets people like, after a while, like I know someone like Dmart played the game every night, and now he's not playing it because he was getting shot through walls. Like, you know, it's just after a while, like you kind of draw a line in the sand. You're like, okay, I'm sure he'll be back, and I'm sure people that leave will be back. It's just one of those things, like, you know, it just sucks when you play and you're like trying to have fun and you're getting annoyed.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
like,
I get it. Like on one hand, it's just a game. Like if you get that mad, you should maybe stop playing. But which I had this moment because I got really frustrated. I went and played a different game on stream for the first time in months.
I know, I saw you do it.
And but it's just a game. But it's also something, you know. It is, video games are in a different stratosphere now. They're like, it's like a hangout with your friends. People make money off them. There's huge communities. It's not just like a silly video game anymore. So on one hand, it is like just a game and it's just for fun. But on the other hand, like you are doing it as this experience. There's ranked mode. It's competitive. And then, yeah, exactly. If you went to go play basketball every night and then like the basketball court, just like someone just fell through the ground, you'd be like, yeah, what the hell is this? We're not going back here. You know?
Yeah,
So like
every time you get the ball, it's deflated or something weird.
Totally. Yeah. And then to play ranked and to try, you're trying hard, you're competing, and then teams are still going into the same rock on Miramar every single game and shooting you through a wall or through a rock to happen 3 years later is like, oh man, it is frustrating. Yeah. The cheating in ranked is like at an all-time high on Miramar, getting in the rocks and people with the OG Xboxes driving through buildings, driving into the rocks and all that stuff.
Dude. Yeah, I just like, I don't know. Like, I'm really hoping that they just drop support from those systems. Honestly, like, I think the game, and like, I hope like by a year after the Xbox Series X is out, they drop support to anything below a Series X.
Yeah,
the console's 8 years old, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
did you hear
$500 and you get so much mileage out?
Did you hear there was a conspiracy theory like rumor that basically, I don't know if Player IGN said this, but because Player IGN was talking that they stopped working on PUBG Lite and that person is working on a new, that was ahead of that project, is working on a new thing. Someone was saying, or maybe we were talking about in the stream, what if PUBG Lite people are making PUBG Lite for like a new version of PUBG Lite for old consoles and for old computers, where it's like a new version of the game where it's like almost mobile, but for Xbox or something. And then if you have the original consoles or something like that, or you don't have a Series X, then you play on that version. Yeah, I don't think this is happening, but that could be PUBG's answer for it. You know, like PUBG Lite.
They're working on the new mobile game.
That's what I think they're doing too. That's what Player IGN said. But you know, it's just something that like.
That would be a good theory.
It would be a solution for the OG Xbox, but yeah, who knows? Because PUBG doesn't seem like they want to give up support though. Like when I talked to Andy, they said he didn't seem like that was something that they were gonna do.
Yeah, I just think that's silly, but whatever. I mean, if I can't play it on an 8-year-old computer, why should we be able to play it on an 8-year-old Xbox?
Yeah.
I think it's just that they can't let go of it now because the adoption rate right now of the new console, the next gen consoles, is not high enough.
Oh yeah, and you can't even get one if you want one. There's people.
Yeah, so I think it's like you have to support it until you hit like a critical mass kind of thing, and then it's just like
they would honestly need to wait at least another year or two, and then
yeah. But I just think that's like one solution right there is just stop. You know, you're not going to fix, I don't think you're going to be able to like get to the next level if you keep on doing it. And I think like, and that's why like a lot of these games like Warzone, it's like it's cross platform with PC and console, but it's like, you know, now that they've really merged those groups, it's like one, and I think it's easier for them to detach from the old OG Xboxes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I think they could just be like, well, get a computer, kid. You know what I mean? But Activision has so much more power. But like they don't have to worry about the player base as much. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Because like, you know, right now PUBG has the two, you know, you have console and PC. But if they had one player base, you would really kind of be able to be like, listen, like we can't support this anymore. We need to have everyone on the next gen console. So whatever, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. You know?
Yeah, hopefully some good comes. I think they have some good plans, and it seems like the people working there are pretty excited. So
yeah,
I mean, I don't know what that really means in the end of the day.
No, I think at the end of the day, unfortunately, I hope people don't have their hopes up like too high because we don't know what's going to happen. But like I said, we said this a million times. Obviously, the people that work at PUBG really care about the game, and as just big fans of the game, you know, we just want to see it. Everybody, I think, just wants to see it be at a better potential. It doesn't have to be at its full potential because nothing's at like nothing's perfect. But we just want to see the game better and in like a better state because we just want people to have fun, enjoy the game, and not have as many issues. But as we're learning, every game has its issues. But some of these things obviously in PUBG are a little bit different than some things are like just every other game. Every game's gonna have cheaters, but some things are pretty unique to PUBG that people usually don't deal with in other games. But I guess we kind of beat that topic. So you want to move on to the PG, PGI.S.
Sure.
So this is again the PUBG Global Invitational, and PUBG. This is the global event for PUBG. One of the first ones they're doing in person, and I think maybe they said, potentially 2 years. I'd have to go back to Twitter to see if that's the current. In over a year. Sorry. First global event in over a year, and it's going to be in person. They're kind of doing like a little bit of a bubble there. Yeah. And if you log into PUBG, there's actually Esports tab, and this is going to be running from day one is February 8th to all the way until the end of March, I think is when this is going to end. Is that right? I think it goes all the way until that point. Yeah. It's actually a pretty long event. So week 6 is the final week, ends on March 28th. That's crazy. So this is
it's a long period.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun, I think. It makes it a little fun. I think go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's 32 teams, and there's teams from all over the world, and you can see each area there's different regions, and there's a couple different regions for the Asia area. So there's like teams in Europe. North America has probably the least amount of teams. There's only 4 teams. It's Sonic, Shoot to Kill, Oath, and Zenith or Zenith. Yeah. And then LATAM has 2 teams. China has 6 teams. What is SEA? Is that
I think that's like Sienna or like APAC they call it.
Okay, I'm not sure what this is. It looks like
that's gonna be like Thailand. Okay, it's like Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore. And typically this would probably cover typically this would be like OCE.
Okay.
Which would be like also Australia, but they didn't invite the teams from Australia because of
COVID.
There's Corona, but there's also Australian players on like the Sonics and SDK.
Okay.
There's one each, but there's a ballot backlash there. But that's typically where like the Australian and like they call that the APAC region. So like typically like when you do PCS, there's NA, EU, Asia, and APAC. And APAC was like Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore, Australia, like that. And then Asia was Japan, China, Korea.
Okay.
And maybe like Chinese Taipei.
Chinese Taipei, yeah, because that's another one. There's Chinese Taipei, which is sending 2 teams. Then Japan has 2 teams, and then Korea has 4 teams. So it's actually Europe and China with the most sections, most teams.
Yeah, they definitely have the most. I mean, China's like very into it, like is very big PUBG. So is like Korea, but it's a smaller nation, so than China, so they definitely just have less orgs and stuff like that. And I think they try to like do it proportionally in a way. I mean, like Afrika Feeks, T1, DWG, like Damwon Gaming, and Genji. Like, how crazy is it that Damwon Gaming is sponsored by Kia, the car company, and that's why they're DWG Kia.
Is it really?
And they're sponsored by Kia for this event. Like, that's how big PUBG is in Korea, that Kia is sponsoring this event. So they have their name in it.
That's awesome. I know T1 is a really big that's a really big parent organization. They're sponsored by like a giant telecom company.
Yeah, if you look at like
that's nuts. In League of Legends, they're like huge. It's like one of the biggest
if you
teams.
look at SEA, they're LG Divine. They're sponsored by LG.
Damn. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. There's a lot of big teams, a lot of big sponsors and stuff like that. That's awesome. Good for them.
There used to be OGN. I think OGN closed down though. There used to be like OGN Entis.
Okay.
But they recently closed down. I think that was a Korean team. But I think that team actually moved to another got moved to another team, so they're still there. They're just under a different name now or a different org. Okay. But I think T1 just got a whole new team, if I remember correctly.
Okay. See, this is where I'm not super helpful. If you guys want to look at if you log into esports, you can actually go to each team and look at the members of the team, and then you could probably do some Googling if you want to check some more stuff out. So depending on who's listening to this right now, you may be super into esports and yelling at us for not knowing every little detail. You may be never watched anything at all esports related, maybe not even for any other game. And I'm more on that thing, on that side of the spectrum. I watched League of Legends esports. I went to an event in person, but then I stopped playing that game. And I haven't got fully into this yet. I've seen some games, some matches. Me and Andrew actually watched one together one time. It was a lot of fun actually to watch it on TV. And I am going to be like heavily involved in watching this stuff this year. So I'm excited for this event, but I'm still kind of a noob to this stuff. So that's just like my background. And if you guys are looking into it, then you could use this and also the website. And then PUBG has an esports YouTube channel, which has a lot of cool videos and also like videos explaining what's going on with the Pick'em challenge and all that stuff. So just a FYI for people listening. I know that people listening might be like, I've never followed this before. And some people in the stream were asking about the Pick'em challenge because it's kind of confusing. I mean, when you go to the esports stats, there's so much going on that if you don't really know, esports and how the system works, like it honestly is a little confusing to look at this tab. I guess the easiest way to do, I was watching this YouTube video. This is the most helpful on their YouTube channel. And I guess each week you're going to be able to pick who you think is going to be the winners or in the top 4 teams. And then if you guess that correctly, you will get a voting thing, which you can use to put on a team. So this actually is pretty confusing. So basically each week there's going to be different things. You can guess who's going to be the best team, the MVP player or the player with the most kills, I think. And then if you get any of those right, you will get a ticket that you can then put on a team to see if they win, you get points or something, right?
No. So if you go into the PUBG store and you make a purchase, you get the coupons.
Okay.
So like I went and I bought the PGI.S stuff and I got 21 coupons.
Okay.
Then you go into your pick'em challenge and like each coupon is a different like bet, we could say. So like you would say like you could pick your weekly winner, the chicken winners and stuff like that. So like one coupon. So it's like weekly kill point MVP. So which team will top the kills during the weekly final? So like I pick SDK. And I put that's one coupon there. It may be more than one. I think it's usually one. And then if I win, I get 200,000 EP points, and I can take that 200,000 EP points and go and buy stuff from the esports shop, like the M4 skin, the PGI pan.
Gotcha. I know that PUBG gives out coupons like sometimes during the broadcast and stuff, but is there no other free way to get any of these coupons, or you just have to pay and then watch?
I think you have to buy stuff and or watch. I think that's really it.
Dang. Yeah. So that's kind of a bummer because I think for a lot of console players that don't, watch these events, they don't know where maybe to watch or when it's really on. I know it's going to be like they're going to say it's on, and on PC it's going to be broadcasted in the game, but on console it's not going to be. So that is one thing that's like tough that still console players don't really know. And then also because it's like I guess this is in person now, so it will be at the same time each time. But before, because it was different regions, it was like different times of the day games were happening, and it was kind of hard to track for me. So I get where people are coming from. So I guess for now you do have to spend money. So if you guys are upset about that, I get that, but this is something that you'd have to spend money on to get the coupons, and then you wager those coupons for a chance at EP. So you're not even guaranteed to get the EP points to buy these items. And the items in the shop right now, there's a bunch of PGI skins, there's a PGI pan, and then there's a PGI.S outfit set that actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, so I would say I think there are some free things you can do on Pick'em if I remember correctly.
Usually there is, right? Usually there's some kind of free.
There is something free. So maybe there's something free on this. It's just not open yet. But I mean, in reality, if you have the coupons, they give you like pretty much like up until like the last minute to pick the winner or whatever. So you'll have like a decent idea of like who's going to get first place or second, second place or, kind of thing.
Yeah, then in
So
the
like
stream
they don't make it like impossible
maybe
to win points.
yeah, and during the stream we'll try to talk about like maybe who the best people are to vote for, and potentially
Yeah.
even do like maybe a video or something like that to help people.
Yeah. It'd be good if we could keep up with it every week. We could do an update like midweek or something, and then that like right like maybe the day or two before the Pick'em challenge is over, so then you get people to listen. You can do it. We can go over like a recap.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I mean, we should definitely be doing a podcast every like week or two for
We gotta get
for
back on
well,
schedule.
at least for PGI.S though, because it gives us something
Yeah.
to definitely cover and talk about,
shorten one.
and we'll be
Yeah.
following it. So
Maybe I guess like do you want to go over the format of PGIS? Maybe I think that's like one of the most confusing things for most people.
yeah, I mean, if you have the information, definitely. I mean,
Unfortunately, I know it on the top of my head. No, I do have it up, but I also remember it. So basically, this weekend, starting tomorrow, there's going to be the group stage. Group stage is going to determine, and it's the normal point system, I believe. I'm like 95% sure that if like basically if you get a chicken dinner, you get 10 points, and then every kill is worth 1 point. And then I think second place is actually like 6 points, and then it drops down. Like so, placement points are not necessarily huge, but kills like obviously are worth a lot, but they matter.
okay.
So this will determine the groups, right? So what happens is the 32 teams will face off in the group stage. They battle for their I think it's 12 matches total, 12 matches per group, I guess. So it's a lot of matches. So like there's 4 separate groups, right? So you have group A, B, and C, and they interchangeably face each other for a total of 12 matches for that group. So if I'm in group A, I have 12 matches, and I'll face off against group B, group C, and group D over the next 3 days, right? I think it's around that. But anyway, once this is determined, it'll have the ranking from first place to 32nd place. Now, from I believe Monday to Wednesday, or is it Tuesday, Thursday? I have to look at the exact dates. That we can definitely link the schedule. But the next thing is survival, the weekly survival, which is then the top 16 teams will start off and face off. And when a team wins a chicken dinner, so if you're,
So let's say this is going to be the first week, which starts February 8th, is going to start the first week of survival.
Yeah, but so basically, the first week of survival. The group stage that's happening this weekend is a one and done deal, really. So once these are determined, you have your 1 through 32nd placement. But the way that things start shifting is in the survival. So let's say I'm on STK, where we came in on at we'll say first place. Like fuck it, I'll say we got first place. We're seated first. We're in the weekly survival. We play a match. Sonics win. Sonics win, and now they're done. They won weekly survival. They go on to the finals, which is like Friday. So they move on.
Okay.
And then the team that's 17th place will then take their place, and then we go again. And if I'm SDK, we win a chicken dinner. Okay, we're done. We made finals. We're out. We move on to the next thing. Then the team that was 18th place takes our place. So that's how it will funnel in until they get to 16 chicken dinner winners. So chicken dinner winners.
So each week, if you win the very first game, are you not going to play until the very end?
Yeah, you won't play again until finals. Yeah. So if you're the first game of weekly survival and you get a chicken dinner, you won't have to play again until the finals, which is like the Friday night, I believe.
Okay, the finals of that week. And then if you win that,
Yes,
then do you move and then
it all basically resets. So that Saturday, the teams that didn't win a chicken dinner in weekly survival. So anyone that was basically, if you didn't win a chicken dinner, so the 16 teams that went to finals on Friday night, if you weren't those 16 teams on Saturday, there's going to be like a reshuffle. So basically they'll play a best of 4 games, and then they get reseeded from 17th through 32nd. So if you're the team that was 32nd place from the group stages and you don't do well and you don't even get a chance to play for a chicken dinner, right? At that point, you have, I think, like a 3% chance of actually getting to even play in the weekly survival. You need to do well that Saturday and get a better seed place. So, if you do well Saturday and you get a 17th or 18th seed place, then in that weekly survival too, you'll have a really good chance of like getting into the games in the weekly survival and actually like moving on to finals.
But then how does it work week from week? Like if you did really well, like say you end up winning and then on the weekly final you win, what does that mean going to week 2 for you? Does that mean like you just have a better seed than everybody else? Or
So basically each week is resetting, right? So that if you look in the I think it says the standings or teams. Let's see here. Each different maybe it's an overview. I just saw it here. Standings. Oh yeah, here it is. It's in prize ranking. Oh no, they don't have it here. It's somewhere here. I could have swore I just saw it. Oh, here, maybe prize.
I mean,
okay.
it's making sense so far, but it is a little confusing.
If you go to overview, okay, so look, if you go to overview, right, and you're the number 1 team in week 1, so if you go to the overview tab and esports, and then you go to prize, on the left side is weekly survival, which is just some cash that they win, right? Mm-hmm. On the right side, which is weekly final, this is the big money games, right? So if you win week 1, you win $25,000. If you win week 2, you get $50,000. If you win week 3, you get $100,000. And so far, you go all the way up to week 6 is $500,000. So this is where the format gets really questionable. The format gets really questionable here is because teams don't like is that like basically like whoever accumulates the most money over the 6-week period is dubbed the winner of the tournament. But the really screwed up thing is that if you win weeks 1 through 4, like you just crush the first 4 weeks, and then weeks 5 and 6 you do doo-doo Browntown. The team that wins week 6 in theory could
get more points. Wow, dude, exactly. That's a really weird system. Then it should be the same amount of money each time.
Yeah, I get
like why scale it for a comeback, right? I guess you could scale it up a little bit so a team can come back.
Yeah, someone can't run away with it. But I mean, I don't know, dude. Like if these are the best in the world, I really don't think anyone's really running away with it like that, But yeah, I because you do get money for like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, up till 4th place to get money. So it's just and everyone gets money there. That's important to realize. Like it's not like and they get like everything that they're there for is like paid for, like pretty much. But like
yeah, I heard that PUBG's doing a good job like hooking them up for the trip and stuff. So that's pretty it's pretty nice.
So they want to make sure, but like like there's like teams there, like orgs want to make money off of this because it's advertising, and B, they do get probably some of these prize pools. But then there's teams like no, I don't think SDK is the only team that isn't part of an org. They just are 4, 5 dudes plus their quote unquote manager, I guess, for the event, and then their backup player. So 7 people that are just like there to play, and they don't have like an org that pays them a salary. So they're just like they play off of their prize money.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing. So like they're obviously there to like make money. So they want to do as well as they can. So they go home with a check. You know what I mean? With some cash.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting
thing.
It's
a really fun experience for them, but they also definitely want to get some cash.
Yeah, I'm sure it's some stressful shit sometimes because you're like, this is, my income. And if you want to be really good at this game, you got to dedicate the time to it. So, and, it's kind of crazy to think about that. If you won, I think PCS, like one of the PCSs, I think you're only winning like between, I think like $100,000, maybe less. I don't know.
And then now they're giving that out like for 1 week at the end there.
Yeah, maybe less. I don't know. I gotta look at the old things, but like, I
remember it wasn't that much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're splitting it. You're right, a bunch of different ways, and that might be
split it with your man, the coach, the 4 players. So like, just say like there's 5 of you. You're splitting 100,000 5 ways. It's $20,000, and then if you're on an org, they might take 10% taxes and whatever, but.
Yeah, true. It doesn't end up being as much as you think at all. Plus, you're right. Plus a commission plus taxes. I mean, you could be walking away with like $10,000-$15,000.
Yeah,
that's it.
I mean, but it's kind of crazy because it is like overall like the amount, and I think they do this like it would be ridiculous to give the winning team or like one team like $2 million. Like I get that that's like a lot of money.
Yeah, and they're trying to support people.
No one else gets money. Why would orgs want to do this, or why would other teams be incentivized to keep?
Totally, I prefer the system. You want to keep it as healthy as possible. And honestly, kudos to PUBG for doing this and like supporting this. And I mean, like keeping the esports stuff alive is such a big thing for the game to stay alive, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, that this is huge. So it's actually awesome to see that PUBG is like doing a good job with all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun to watch. I mean, there is like I texted you a link that like gives the PUBG NA website has the times converted from Korean times to EST and PST. So it's gonna be on pretty late if you're in the Americas, because you know Korea, it's like I think their matches start at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. Korean time, so that's I think midnight in the Eastern time in the US, and then like 5 a.m.
Oh wow,
Eastern.
yeah, I see. This is it's midnight. You're right, midnight EST, and then 9 p.m. if you're in the West Coast, PST. So yeah, it's going to be going literally from midnight to 5 a.m. for us. But you can watch the VOD, right? In the next morning.
Yeah, they have the VOD and stuff like that. And sometimes like I've gotten up in the morning when I'm getting ready for work and I put it on and it's like, you know, it's fun to watch. I don't mind watching the VOD sometimes either, because then I can just like skip through the shit I don't really like, the in between matches kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I like they made it like I've tried to go back and watch like old MPL VODs or like PGC 2019 VODs, and they're just hard to skip through. I think like the PCS format and how they did that was really nice, because it was easy to like go match 1, match 2. But I mean, the in-person events I guess can be completely different.
Oh, so I missed that last part. So it's not. What's with the schedule? That's it's going to be different than just match 1,
No,
match 2.
like, it was just easy to like. It's easy to watch the VODs, is what I was saying.
Oh, okay,
basically.
yeah, it is because it shows you like what game it is. Yeah, it is pretty easy.
Because I think like with like PUBG, like PGC 2019, and I just didn't understand, like it's like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and I'm like, okay, like where the fuck are we at? You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I felt the same way. I thought it was like ending, but it wasn't. I was confused.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like phase 1, match 32, day 7. It's like, what the fuck am I looking at? You know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's what's tough, man. It's like I guess that's so good with anything. Like if you've never watched NFL, you're confused maybe by the schedule or something. But it definitely is. It definitely sometimes seems more confusing than it needs to be. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think like I don't know if you saw that they tweeted out the 2021 Esports Roadmap, which is huge because like last year, I mean, COVID aside, like they didn't release, even before COVID, like say it was January, there was no, or February, there's no roadmap for what 2021 PUBG Esports or 2020 PUBG Esports was going to look like. And then COVID happened, so obviously like there's a lot more uncertainty, and they came up with the PCS, which is a great pivot. But like they didn't know like from PCS 2 there was going to be a PCS 3. You know what I mean? They really didn't know until it was like close to being announced, I guess, or maybe the teams did know and they weren't saying anything.
Yeah, but I remember that like in the public like, it wasn't known. Yeah,
no one knew. Yeah, so it's nice that they released a schedule and they announced PCS 4, PCS 5, and then like PGC 2021, which will be very interesting to see where that's at. And I think that's gonna be a cool thing. And it's like nice that they put that out there, and they tweeted out basically like they've revamped their profit sharing and all this stuff with like, you know, and they're open for suggestions, because I think like in the beginning, like with when they started with like NPL and like, you know, 2017, 2018, 2019, and they lost all these orgs like Envy, Optic, like these big orgs, Evil Geniuses, Spaceship Gaming, like, you know, these legit places, they lost them because they just probably lack of communication from what I've read and heard, and B, just like if there's not like profit sharing and like not having skins, like they want gun skins in the game. Like, dude, imagine they had like cool gun skins in the game. Like, wouldn't you want to buy like a FaZe Clan gun skin? Like, I don't see an issue with like having a FaZe Clan gun skin that PUBG takes 60% of the profits on, and you know, FaZe takes 40%. You know what I mean? Whatever the split is. But I think that's a great way to get orgs in there, and it makes the players happy. Everyone makes some money on it.
Were you just telling me about this the other day? Because someone was just talking about this. I think it was you, and it's such a great idea. I mean, I don't know why that wouldn't happen.
A lot of people have been tweeting it lately too. Like, there's a guy on Twitter. I wish I could find. I could try to find it. I tweeted like the SpongeBob SquarePants. Like I need it, like because he was doing he was doing like he made different teams gun skins, and like he made a FaZe Clan one, Navi, all these cool, and they look awesome, dude. And like
Yeah,
an
cool.
STK one, super cool looking. And like, dude, like that'd be so dope to like even if it was like only teams like that feature teams or whatever, teams that won a PCS or something like that. I would buy it. You know what I mean? Like why wouldn't you buy it? I think a lot of people would buy them. People buy everything that comes out. So why wouldn't people want more skins? And it's easy. Like you don't need a creative dude to
The logo's already there. The colors and logos are already there.
It's like being thrown a slow pitch at a baseball game, bro. Like your creative team just needs to do it. Some dude on Twitter just did it for you. Just be like, hey, dude, we'll give you $50 to give us those designs.
Yeah, I guess the only thing, the hardest part would be just negotiating the contract with those companies.
Those orgs,
and
I'm sure
then,
every org will have different terms, but I think that's kind of where PUBG needs to be like, listen, this is our terms, and like,
if you want to be a part of it, just here.
Yeah, we want to do it, you know.
Because I know there's weird stuff with the contracts, and then with PC and console, there's weird stuff. But that's why there's only the streamers for PC, and that's why like the PC skins like Doctor Disrespect and Shroud. Like, did the Doctor Disrespect skin ever even make it to console? I don't know if it did. Like some of those skins, like
those were so. I think they were before even like consoles.
Yeah, but there's like weird contract stuff where it doesn't just go over to console. There's so many weird things behind the scenes. But you're right. Like they could definitely just be like, here's what we're doing if you want to be a part of it. And definitely some teams would opt in for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why a lot of teams, even like the smaller orgs, would be down with it. Like, like Zenith, like some of these orgs only have like PUBG and like another kind of like team. So
that's huge for them. Like you said, some of these players and orgs are just like not making a ton of money, and they're out there kind of on the forefront of this this world and industry. Really, you know what I mean? If you think about it, like unless you're in a huge org and you're part of League of Legends, like you're taking a risk like being involved in any of these things that aren't making like millions of dollars. You know, because it really is kind of crazy. It's like a crapshoot whether you're gonna get paid or do well, and it's really competitive, obviously, with how many people are involved in these games and stuff. It's kind of crazy.
No, definitely. And I think it's like interesting because like you know, even Valorant, like, you know, that, you know, with Riot making that game, it's like still a huge gamble for anyone to get involved with, like in esports. Like if you're an org, like you're 100 Thieves or whoever you are, it's still a big gamble just because of the fact that like it's new and you don't know if it's going to stick. Like even though it is Riot, they have League of Legends and they are like the dawn of esports, like the second generation of esports from Halo. You know what I mean? Like they really are the revamp, but it's still a risk.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely, it's always a risk, pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, man. Stuff like that, I feel like should totally just be done. But hopefully, I mean, PUBG's definitely doing a lot of good stuff. So hopefully, something like that will come in the future. You know, and hopefully they see some of that feedback from people. Oh,
yeah.
This is so off topic, but I sent you a tweet from Brian Corrigan.
My watch and I saw it on my phone.
So
it's hilarious.
He responded to Dave Kerr, Brian Corrigan, who's the head of PUBG America, and it says PUBG Curd .0, and it's the Doge like dog, or the just the Shibu dog,
Shiba Inu,
and it's like jacked, and then it says PUBG 1.0 and the dog's crying. So it, like, this seems like some kind of cryptic message that like they're talking, the PUBG 1.0 dog is crying, and then it says Curd .0. So does that mean like 2.0? Like that's so cryptic, right?
Yeah, I know. It definitely is very cryptic.
That is crazy, man. That is so odd. What does that mean?
I mean, dude, so to me, like, I would say it's always this thing. I was going to say, like, this is it. And even, like, maybe I think, like, I was going to say, like, when we were talking about the skins, like, and you were saying how things trickle from PC to console because of contracts. Like, I mean, dude, if you make a whole new game, your contracts that you have for the old game probably go void or whatever, or you make new contracts for the new game. So you could kind of, like, make your terms a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, now that PUBG has some money, they don't have to be like bend over backwards for Steam or whatever they want to do. They can be like, hey, we make plenty of money here. We don't need to necessarily make money from this or do this or that, or you can't tell us to do this. We could, you know, So it wouldn't surprise me if they did that way, but that's a funny message. And also, like, no one's saying like, hey, like these PUBG 2.0 things are just a rumor. No one's saying that either. So like, to me, when you're not denying it, I don't know if you know what I mean? Like, if you're denying it, then you're not really like saying it's wrong either.
That's what I'm saying. At one point they were denying, but then I haven't really heard it recently. And then yeah, I don't know. It's kind of odd. And then yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about, I had a weird incident happen where I tweeted out that I was like, at the end of last year, I kind of figured out that I thought that with season 10, it would launch at the same time for console and PC, and that had never happened before, which in the grand scheme of things isn't a big deal, but for us console players, it sucks waiting for content a week or two or a month behind PC. So I was like, oh, this is going to be big news. And Hawkins came in and like denied it, but then he deleted his tweet and then said something and then later confirmed it on my tweet that he's like, actually, that is happening. So it was kind of a weird like incident because I saw him respond being like, that's not the case, and then switch it and say it is the case. So I didn't know like what happened there. It was really weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's like what I was saying. Like, I think the last podcast, I'm like, not everyone knows like everything going on. You know what I mean? It's so easy for them to be like, yeah, we're not going to tell these guys until they need to know because it's just one more hole in the boat to leak information possibly from,
Yeah.
Not that Andy leaks like too much information to us. I mean, he only told us about like, Miramar, and I'm just kidding. He hasn't told us anything.
He only told us about the bleep, redacted.
Yeah, like 800. He only hits a button and makes a circle appear in the places we want it to and shit like that. No, we won't throw Andy under the bus. He hasn't told us anything. Honestly.
No.
It kind of pisses me off.
Go on, Andy, tell us some stuff.
Yeah, seriously.
But yeah, I mean, anyways, all that stuff is going to be interesting, and I'm actually pretty excited to watch this stuff. Unfortunately, I guess, what were you saying we could watch this weekend? Are they doing scrims this weekend, or what's the deal with that?
This weekend is the group stages starting at midnight tonight. You will be able to watch the group stages of PGI.
Oh, so where they're going to place for the first week? Is that what
for the first week? So when we go to the airport on Saturday morning, we can open our little phones and watch Twitch and check out the 5 a.m. Or the 7 p.m. KST games for the group stages.
Okay.
I don't know, and we should be able to see. And like this was something I kept on tweeting at PUBG. I was like, can you guys release like a clean schedule of like what groups are playing when? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and what time? Because that was always an issue with like PCS is like you didn't know until what you turned on like the stream at like what teams were playing, which is like a good thing because I guess people go and check. But like I wanted to know like if the teams I like were playing at that time, because then I was like, I could be more attentive and I'll be sitting down at 7 p.m. or whatever, or I can go to the grocery store and I'll get home at 8 and I'm not going to be like, oh, okay, I missed something.
Yeah, that would be. I think that's like what people are looking for. Like you just want to see like the brands need like recognition. Like I've been watching now, so I recognize the NA like teams and like some of the cool names that I like the 4 Angry Men. Like you want to see logo, what time they're playing, and you could be like, okay, I recognize that team. I want to watch that team at 9 p.m. That is the best way to really see how you're like what you want to watch. Yeah,
it's like what is it like? Who, what, where, and when kind of thing. Just like,
yeah, exactly.
Give me that information and I'll be there kind of.
Yeah,
but I mean, if PGC this year is in, we should go. I think it will be in person. I think I saw something that they're saying there might be people in PGI.S like watching PGI.S. Can't imagine a lot of people, but
yeah, maybe like limited
wearing masks in there. They have to wear masks in the rooms, like that. They're like team rooms or something. If there's like more than like 3 of them in there, so.
Yeah, I mean, they could have people wearing masks. I mean, like they did that for the football games in the U.S.
Yeah,
like wear masks.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I mean, it is what it is. Well, Korea is very serious about it, so.
Yeah.
I was gonna say if they had this in America, they'd be doing whatever the hell they wanted. I don't think a lot of countries would even let them come here.
Yeah, probably not. They'd be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean that'd be awesome. Hopefully, eventually something like that, and then I would definitely go because it would be cool to support PUBG and see it in person. Like I said, when I went to the League of Legends thing, it was a really fun event, and honestly, it was so hype, more hype than you would imagine watching people play. Because you see them on stage, but then you kind of all watching the game together on like a big screen, But the
Yeah.
hype in the stadium around the big moments, or when you would see something kind of happening, for example, like you would maybe see a team sneaking up on another team and be like, oh, like people start like, saying stuff, and it gets really, really hype when someone gets a crazy kill and everyone's like yelling.
Yeah.
It's more fun than you think. It's like watching an actual sporting event, you know?
Yeah, I
It's
think
kinda cool.
it's funny because like I remember Andy told me like watch like PGI Berlin 2018 or something like that. Like PGI Berlin, it was like grenade or something, and it was like a dude. It was like the guy was like a one man, like the like lone survivor.
I remember this. It was like a really famous grenade clip. It was all over the
Yeah,
internet a
and he
while
like
back.
fork pieces a whole team, and he ends up like it was like a 1v1 or like a 1v2, and he like wins it. It was like insane, and like you could hear people in the background going nuts.
Dude, and it's crazy because
Um,
only in that competitive esports and an FPP is a whole team even like next to each other. Like not even in ranked would you see four players right next to each other, but sometimes in esports they get in the craziest positions where they're like all hiding together in the grass, right? It's kind of nuts with some of the things they do. Yeah, it's pretty rare,
yeah,
but things like
I
that do
can't remember
happen.
what team it was. Like I think it was Gen G. No, maybe not. Maybe it was 4 a.m. I don't know, but it was like insane. But like it's just like it's. I mean, it's a sporting event. You just get a lot of people with like the same mindset together, kind of thing, and it's gonna be hype.
Yeah, that's exciting, man. That's cool stuff. So there's the four teams from North America are Sonic, Shoot to Kill, Oath, and Zenith. So is there you
Yeah,
like Shoot to Kill, right? So you're going to be rooting for them.
yeah, I'll probably refresh. Yeah, I definitely will.
And then they have Purdy Curdy, A Low, who I don't know, A Low, Luke, Uncivil, and Penta Lol,
Yeah, he's like their backup player, Pentalol.
reserve
He
player.
plays for yeah, he plays for like Duel in NA. He's good. So I mean, like I like Sonics. I really like Oath. Oath is probably my second favorite team because you got
Snakers, who's the
Seekers
guy from
from
New Jersey.
New Jersey native, bro.
Let's
You
go.
got yeah, I know, and like you got I think like Gunners from like New York State or something. So like pretty popular area here. But Sonics, I like Sonics too. I don't mind them. I think like they have like the really hardcore fan base.
Yeah,
And
because they
Zenith,
have
too.
the TGLTN and
Yeah,
Shrimsy. Is that what it is? I didn't even know.
Yeah, it's
But those are
Tiggleton.
pretty famous, and H-Win, I feel like are pretty famous players, right?
Yeah, yeah, they are. I mean, yeah, Shoot to Kill is probably the oldest team. Like the guys like are probably the most. They played for like Dignitas and then Lazarus, and now their Shoot to Kill.
Gotcha.
I think it was like their Shoot to Kill was like a different group of people. Then it was like these guys played for Dignitas, and they became Shoot to Kill, and then they played for Lazarus. Now they're back to Shoot to Kill.
Okay.
I'm like, at this point, why don't you guys just become an org on your own? Like, how hard is it to like try to like reach out to get a couple sponsors, and just like,
Well, maybe they're
I
trying
mean,
that. Yeah, maybe it's in their future.
I don't know. Maybe I would hope so. I just think they're hard. The name is hard to sell. Shoot to kill in your sweatshirt
Uh,
sometimes.
mm,
I don't know,
yeah.
but I'll wear it to the airport and see how people feel.
It's crazy because I just will always
I
remember
like it.
STK from the Halo days. They were the first major team, the two brothers
Yeah.
that created STK for Halo,
Oh,
and I always thought that was such a dope name, Shoot to Kill.
I mean, it might be. Yeah, it's a really good video game name, and I
It's
think maybe it is an ohm, like a throw, like an ohm or whatever they call it too.
homage, whatever they say.
To
Yeah, like
homage to the Shoot to Kill ogre, like the ogre twins or whatever they're called.
yeah, because they were like I mean, they were such a famous like esports team back in the day, and they were the best. So, I don't know, I
Yeah.
always feel like that was a cool name, and it's kind of synonymous with like being successful. But at least that's just for me from back in the day. Really no
Yeah, I
meaning
mean,
on the now.
yeah, I mean, I would say like these guys like are really good at getting kills. Like Luke 12 is like high up there. He's like a
Yeah,
really
I feel
good
like I hear that
player.
guy's name a lot.
Yeah, he's like a very big. He's from. So it's funny because Luke 12 is probably like one of the best like shooters on Shoot to Kill, and he's Australian. And then on Sonic's, Tiggleton is the best shooter probably, and he's Australian as well. It's kind of funny.
Okay,
He's
interesting.
both from
So
Australia.
the Australian dudes don't mess around.
Yeah, dude, it's honestly insane because like Shoot to Kill is known for just having a ton of throwables. Like they'll carry like low amounts of ammo and just have like 10 grenades, and then just like bombard people. And like watching some of these dudes throw grenades, like when they do like the FPP perspective and viewing, like dude, the one dude like on Civil like throw a grenade through the first window, the second window, the third window, and like doesn't miss any. Like when I throw a grenade, it's like bouncing off the roof and shit. And, like the second one's like bouncing off the wall. Like he's like running up to it and just like throwing a grenade, a Molotov, like into the building. It's crazy how good they are at throwing shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it makes such a huge difference. It's so strong. That's awesome that they do that. I'm about to start doing that more in ranked now.
I know, I've been doing that, and it pays off.
Yeah,
definitely pays off.
Oh, for sure.
I think a lot of people have.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to watch some games. Hopefully, we can catch some, and I'll watch some VODs. And then I have a baby on the way, dude. So in March, I mean, I'm gonna be like home. I'm gonna take like some time off streaming, so I could just watch the baby, watch some PUBG VODs, and catch. I definitely just want to pay attention to all this stuff this year and be more involved in it. You know.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I definitely think it's fun to follow. Like, I'm obviously not a huge sports person, but I like following this. And like, someone like asked me, like, I bought like some like the Shoot to Kill jersey and like a sweatshirt or something. Like, well, why would you do that? And I'm like, I think it's like supporting a streamer or anything. Like, if you enjoy the team or watching them, you know, you pick a team, like you go buy a, like it may not be as big as NFL, but you know, it's like you're supporting a team or whatever. It's a little bit more directly supporting a team than buying like a jersey from Amazon or something, you know, like this money goes to these guys, hopefully.
So at least a portion of it. Totally. Yeah. I don't think there's anything. Yeah. I mean, I would definitely buy something like that. I think it's fun. It's fun to support stuff like that. Sometimes people hate on buying jerseys. There was like a fad where people like to hate on buying that stuff. Yeah. I look at it the same way as you do. You're just having fun and supporting them in their venture to do their thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, I think Andy collects some jerseys and stuff like that. So yeah,
I think it's cool.
I mean, dude, it's like something to do as we get older.
Yeah. and it plus, honestly, dude, I always say it's like, even though stuff is blowing up in terms of esports, like we're still only scratching the surface of esports just in gaming in general. So it's fun to be, if we didn't support it gaming 10 years ago and everyone in our generation, it wouldn't be where it's at now, you know?
Yeah.
From a like business standpoint, like now there's legitimate sponsors, you know, and so like we're helping push it forward in making it more legitimate. So I think that's awesome. I always think that's really dope.
No, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely getting keep going. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, all right. I guess that pretty much covers it. That was fun, actually fun to talk about. And I guess again, if you guys are listening to this and are like a esports pro, that may be a little basic, but I think a lot of people that are probably listening to this are probably, you know, subscribed to my channel and on YouTube and probably play on console. Might not have all this information, so hopefully, if you made it this far, like you found this interesting, and will maybe consider watching some of the events. I'll definitely be talking about it more on stream, and we'll be doing some podcasts, and we'll be watching some of the stuff this weekend. This weekend, Andrew and I are traveling, doing a quick little trip, and then we'll be back and to catch the weekly survival week 1. But I guess that pretty much covers it for today, dude. PUBG news, PUBG 2. We got these tweets that happened live while we were recording. From Dave Kurd and
we're gonna be on fire when you release this thing,
Brian Kurd. So we'll see what happens. This is interesting information. Like I said, I did not believe this stuff, but now I'm like, it's kind of like Ancient Aliens, dude. I'm like, now I'm starting to believe these crazy conspiracies. But who knows what it's gonna be. Could just be a new movement system, could be a new feature, could be PUBG 2. We'll find out in this year.
Yeah, hopefully. Maybe the final circle will be expanding to a new generation.
Exactly, the final square.
The final square. Cubed. Cool.
But all right, guys, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Yes, thanks for joining us in the final circle.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, later, everybody. Bye.